Hello, welcome back. We are studying history and prehistory of the music, and here the earliest materials are representational evidence of the Egyptian musical instruments date to the Protestantic period, but the evidence is more securely attested in the Old Kingdom when the harps, flutes, and the double clarinets were played. The precision instruments, lyres, and the lutes were added to orchestra by the Middle Kingdom cymbals frequently accomplished music and the dance much as they still to be Egypt today. Egyptian folk music, including the traditional Sufi, Dhikr, rituals, and the closest contemplational music genre to the ancient Egyptian music, having the preserved many of its features, rhythms, and instruments. The Humera hymn to Haikal, founded on the clay tablets that date back to the approximately 1400 BC, is oldest surviving notated work of music. And music was an important part of the social and the cultural life in ancient Greece, and in fact it was one of the main subjects taught to children. Musical education was considered to be important for the development of an individual's soul. Musicians and singers played a prominent role in Greek theatre, and those who received a musical education was seen as nobles and are in perfect theatre, while those who received a musical education were seen as nobles and in perfect harmony, as they can be read in the Republic Plato. And mixed gender performed for entertainment, celebration, and spiritual ceremonies. Instruments included the double reed and upplucked string instrument, the lyre, particularly a special kind called kithara. Music was as important part of education, and the boys were taught music starting at age 6. Greek musical literacy created significant musical development. Greek music therapy excluded the Greek musical notes and eventually became the basis of the Western religious and the classical music, and later influences from the Roman empires. The Eastern Europe and the Byzantine Empire changed Greek music. The Sikos capitals and the oldest surviving example of the complete musical composition, excluding a musical notation from anywhere in the world. The oldest surviving work written on the subject of music entropy is a harmonica by Orchestras and Asian cultures. If you are interested more about the Asian culture, you can visit up to the music of Asia. And Asian music covers a vast swath of music cultures survived in the article on the Arabia, Central Asia, East Asia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, and Southeast Asia. Several have traditions reaching into antiquity. Into the Indian classical music is one of the oldest musical tradition in the world. Sculpture from the Indus Valley civilizations show dance and the old musical instruments like the salmon hold flute. Various type of the stringed instruments and the drums have been recovered from the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro by execution carried out by the Sir Mortimer. An ancient Hindu text has elements of the present Indian music with musical notation to donate the meter and the node of chanting. The Indian classical music marga is monophonic and based on a single melody line or range of how organized through the tales by the Lango-Adial existing scale. Present day Hindu music was influenced by the Persian traditional music and Afghan Mughals chromatic music, popular in the southern states in a largely developments, and the majority of the songs are addressed to the Hindu duties. These are only There are also many songs emphasizing love and other social issues. Indonesian music has been formed since Bronze Age. Culture migrated to the uh, Indonesian culture in the second to third centuries BC. Indonesian traditional music often uses percussion instruments, especially the gongs and kendang. Some of them developed elaborate and distinctive musical instruments such as the sesodo, stringed instrument on the island of the Rote, and the sandhis and the complex and sophisticated javras and the blands gamila orchestras. Indonesia is a home of gong. China is a general term for a set of small, high-pitched pot gongs. Gongs are usually placed in order of note with the boss up on a staying held in a low wooden frame. The most popular and the famous form of the Indonesian music is probably gamelan, the example of turn position, and they include metropolitan drums, gongs, and spike falls. The Chinese classical music, traditional art of the court music of China, has a history stretching over around the 3,000 years. It has its own unique system of musical notation as well as musical turning and pitch, musical instruments and the styles or musical genres. China's music is pentatic diatonic, having a scale of the 12 notes to an octave. That is about 5 plus 7 is equal to 12, as does European influenced music and Western classicals. And the medieval music era, about from 476 to 1400, which took place during the Middle Ages, started with the introduction of a monophonic single melodic line chanting into the Roman Catholic Church services, and Methodic notation was used since ancient time in Greek culture. But the Middle Ages notation was first introduced by the Catholic Church so that the chant melodies could be written down. To facilitate the user use of some melodious for religious music across the entire Catholic empire. The only European melodic repertory that has been found in written form from before 800 to the Monophonic era. Chant of the Roman Catholic Church, the central tradition of which was called Gregorian chant. Alongside these traditions of the skate and the church music, there was excited a vibrant tradition of of the secular song, non-religious songs. Examples of the composers from this period are the Leonian Perotti and the Mechant and Walther Wonder. In census music was more focused on secular themes such as courtly love. Around 450, the printing press was invented, which made printed sheet music much less expensive and easier to mass produce. Prior to the invention of the printing press, all noted music and hand copied. The increased availability of the sheet music helped to spend or spread musical styles more quickly and across larger areas. Musicians and singers often worked for the church courts and the towns. Church choirs grew in the size, and the church remained an important patron of music. By the middle of the 15th century, composers wrote richly polylythic sacred music in which different melody lines were interwoven. Simply prominent composers from this era include the Guarani and the Palestinian Thomas melody, and as well as the musical activity shifted from the church to the aristocratic courts. Kings, queens, and princes competed for the finest composers. Many leading important composers came from the Netherlands, Belgium, and northern France. These are called the Francisco Flemish composers. They held important positions throughout the Europe, especially in Italy. Other countries with a vibrant musical activity include Germany, England, and Spain. And the Bronco era of the music took place from 1600 to 1750, as a Bronco aristocratic style flourished across the Europe. And during this time, the music expanded in its range and complexity. Bronchi music began when the first opera, dramatic solo vocal music accompanied by a writing orchestra. During the Bronco era, the prolific music scene with a multiple influence independent melody wrote for small ensembles, including the strings, brass, and the woodwinds, as well as for the and keyboards instruments such as pipe organ, hair chord, and the clavlord. During this period, several major music forms were defined that lasted into the later periods when they were expanded and evolved further, including the funk. fungi and invention and sonata and the concerto. The late Barocco style was polyolithic, complex, and richly or ornamented. Important explosions from the Bronchian include the music of classical period aimed to imitate what what were seen as the key to elements of the art and philosophy of the ancient Greece and Rome, the ideals of balance.